Well, Mingus still isn't here. We're supposed to do our movie night tonight. So I figured I would just go ahead and start recording. He should be here any minute. I'm just going to call him. It sounds like a better idea. Let's see. Where is he?
Yo.
Hey, where are you?
What?
We're supposed to do our movie night tonight. Remember? And we were gonna record a thing, make it a whole thing for the podcast.
Oh shoot. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Hold on. Hold on.
What?
Just hang tight. I'll be right there.
Okay. What? Jesus! What the?
Alright, I'm here. Boy, howdy, you would not believe. Don't worry about them. They'll be fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, just see there. Oh. He just ignore it. Anyways, I'm here now. We can record this. Perfect. I think it's quieted down.
Yeah. Okay. Hi. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Glad you can make it.
Yep.
So yeah, we're doing our yearly movie night, and this year we decided we would, record a little thing between each movie that we watch. We're gonna start with the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. You got anything you want to say about that?
No. Man, I hope it's good.
Hope it's good. Yeah. We're gonna.
Oh yeah, it should go without saying, but spoilers abound in this video. We're gonna be talking about a lot of movies.
Yeah.
They'll probably be in the description, so just look at that, and then if you don't want to be spoiled on any of those movies, don't watch this.
They're probably not gonna be movies that you care about, though.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you might care about some. This one probably, but the rest of them, I mean, who?
Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's maybe, but I mean.
Give you a sneak peek. Inhumanwich.
Oh man. All right. Well, we're gonna go watch Five Nights at Freddy's, and
we're
we'll.
off to the theaters, and I am not gonna. I'm gonna need to stay here for a bit.
Yeah.
I need to lay low.
Fair enough. All right, let's go. All right. We are currently in the car.
We're in the car.
We're leaving the theater after just watching the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. We have not talked about it yet.
We've thought about it in our heads.
Yeah, so who should go first?
I don't know. Okay, well, just tell me. Okay, let's just start with a number. What's your number out of 10?
1 to 10? I give it a 7.
7?
6.5.
6.5? Okay. I don't know what my number is, honestly.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I've got thoughts.
I have thoughts, but it's I don't know. It's I don't know if I liked it, but I don't know if I hated it either. I think it just felt incoherent.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. It's at the same time, it felt like it was entirely just catering to fans of the series, but then it also felt I don't know. It felt like there was a lot that you maybe wouldn't have understood unless you were familiar with the games, but at the same time, it felt like it was trying to do its own thing and disconnected from the games.
Well, because it wasn't. It's that's the thing. It's the games are so unbelievably stupidly complicated because of the storytelling method that the movie basically had no choice but to try and do something different to actually tell a coherent story. But so it's there's tons of stuff. If you know the games, there's all this stuff for you, and that's great because I like when movies do that for fans. But at the same time, it's I'm going into this thinking, okay, so this is an adaptation of the games, but how much of it is the games? And it's just not. It's so much of weirdly out of order and all over the place.
Yeah, honestly, my number's probably 6 out of 10. I enjoyed it. Okay, it wasn't boring at any point, which is the biggest thing to me is I hate when the worst thing a movie can be is boring.
Yeah, the Banana Splits movie was boring.
Yeah, that movie was awful.
Terrible.
It's definitely
movie.
The worst. Out of if we're making a tier list of mascot horror, that's at the very bottom.
Willy Wonderland is at the top for me.
Yeah, that's
of the three we've
still
seen.
The top. Yeah,
of the three, it's that one, and then this one, and then the Banana Splits movie.
Yeah, it's just how wide of a margin is there between Willy's Wonderland and this one. I don't know. It's hard to say because Willy's Wonderland.
I enjoyed Willy's Wonderland more.
Well, I enjoyed it a lot.
It's just awesome.
I think FNAF worked a lot better as a horror movie because it actually tried to be horror more than Willy's Wonderland did. Willy's Wonderland kind of poked fun at being a horror movie, but very quickly made it clear that was not. It just wanted to.
No, it went full cage.
It was amazing. Like that movie was great because it just fully committed to going balls to the wall insane. So Five Nights at Freddy's, I mean, so I guess context for both of us, like I'm not a huge fan of the games. I played like the first one when it came out. I thought it was just okay. I watched the game theory videos for the first few games when that was the popular thing to do. I watched Markiplier's playthrough of like the first 3 or 4. And then I just haven't thought about it much since then. I think you...
Well, see, here's the thing. This is one of those... This and there's a couple of things in my life where I'm basically like an indirect fan of it. Because I know a lot about Five Nights at Freddy's. Never have I played a single game. I've experienced it vicariously through all of Markiplier's videos and Matt Pat's old videos on the subject. And in my own research that I just do for the hell of it, because I just do that for things that that don't matter. So I know a lot about the Five Nights at Freddy's universe, despite never having played a single game.
See, and that's the thing, is like I was familiar with it, like I knew the names, like William Afton, like I knew the name, I kind of knew who he was, sort of. But even in the movie, like they were name dropping characters, and I was like, I honestly didn't know. So let's just say spoilers, because it's really hard to talk about this movie.
This is a spoiler review. Okay, you know what? We should have said this up top. Maybe we'll put it retroactively back at the intro.
We haven't said spoilers yet.
No, we should just establish that this episode is going to have a lot of spoilers because we're talking about movies.
I don't know. I mean, it's just
assume spoilers for all the movies.
At least for this one, it's hard to talk about this. It's hard to talk around the spoilers for this movie, so I just don't even want to worry about it. But like, is Mike a character from the game?
Yes, Mike Schmidt is the guy you play as. Okay, so here's where it gets complicated if we're really going to talk about the game. The first game, you're Mike Schmidt, but that's just a faceless character. But then later it was established that Mike Schmidt was an alias being used by William Afton's son, who was killed in Sister Location, but then got put into another...
Yeah, I don't even want...
That's the lore. In this one, he's a completely separate character.
Okay, yeah, so that's what I didn't know was, like, who is who. Like, and then Vanessa, from what you told me about her...
Well, she's taken from Security Breach, but in this case, she's filling the role of Elizabeth Afton, who's William Afton's daughter, who gets put into Circus Baby, from Sister Location.
Which in this movie, it looked like they wanted to put his sister into the baby.
Well, that wasn't even the Circus Baby. That was just... I mean, I think it was kind of a reference-ish, but not really. Because it didn't look anything like Circus Baby.
Yeah. Well, anyways, my point is, I'm not, like, super familiar with the lore of the games.
Very familiar with the lore of the games.
Yeah, you're a lot more than I am. So I was more going into this purely as just a movie and, like, judging it as just a movie.
Yeah.
And as a movie, it was very okay. It was, I don't know, it was entertaining. But, yeah, there was definitely, like, there were parts where, like, just really confusing choices. It was very clear they were trying, like, not to keep the tension too high. I think they were trying to
they've explicitly said this is supposed to be a horror movie for younger people.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely clearly times when they like did things to diffuse tension that worked against the horror but kept it kind of more manageable for a kid. Also, quick side note, shout out to the family in front of us who brought their kid to the movie and then covered his eyes for every scary part.
Wait, they had a kid with them?
Yeah, they had a little kid with them, and they were very good. The mom kept leaning over to check in with him if he was okay. Every time something remotely scary happened on screen, one of them reached over and covered his eyes. Great parenting, guys. Good job. 10 out of 10. Just don't take your kid to horror movies if that's how it's going to be.
Well, this is PG-13. I feel like this one depends on the kid. If you'd taken me as a kid, I would have been fine.
He was a pretty young kid. I'm just saying, if they were that concerned about it, like the dad was literally looking up on his phone as the movie was starting. And so, yeah, he was looking up it's like, do the research before you're in the theater. Like, I always have horrible luck coming to theaters. I get really bad, like, audio.
I mean, it wasn't that, I couldn't hear them any at all, I was fine.
I think it was kind of, like, the way I was right behind him, so every time he lit up his phone, it, like, was very visible to me, and I could hear them whispering throughout the movie. It's like, whatever, it didn't ruin the experience. It's just, like, it's just kind of another...
we had very different theater experiences, and we were sitting right next to each other.
Yeah, it's amazing how much of a difference. Anyways, that's a side note. But I'll say it's the movie, like, there's, like, the scene, like...
I'm biased. I played Dead Space at a very young age.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, so it's like, it definitely had some disturbing scenes. Like, really young kids shouldn't see this, but, like, you know, like, a kid can handle it. Most kids could probably handle it just fine.
Look, if you got a 12-year-old who looks for eating horror, they'll be fine. If you have a 12-year-old who hates horror, don't take them to the movie.
Yeah, this was just a slightly higher than, like, Goosebumps level horror.
Yeah.
But, yeah, as a plot, like, okay, wait, where was I going with this? Yeah, so viewing it as a movie, I feel like that kind of explains.
Should we drive around while we do this?
I don't know.
Will it interfere?
I just figured we'd get our thoughts out and then we'd drive home.
Whatever.
Anyways, yeah, I don't know, like, my biggest criticism is they did too much, like, they showed their hand way too early. Like,
the whole idea of the games is that the kids, like the puppets or the animatronics, are possessed by the ghosts of the kids that William Afton killed.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, you know that going into it,
Purple
but like
guy.
what I really liked about the first game of the series is that they actually had like a non-supernatural explanation for everything happening. And then it was kind of later that they started to reveal the supernatural elements. They didn't do that in this movie at all. Like, right off the bat.
I'd like to point out, at this point, these games have been out for over 10 years. Everyone already knows it's Ghost. Would there be of any point doing that?
Yeah.
Everyone who's watching this movie is familiar with the games.
Not necessarily.
Most
They
people.
could have at least pretended that wasn't the case. It would have made a more satisfying experience, I think, if they had just, like, dished it out a little slower. Like, even if you know what the twist is coming in, you can still appreciate a well-executed twist.
Speaking of which, you'll never guess who the killer is in this movie.
We guess.
I'll give you a hint. It's the only character. It's much like Scooby-Doo. It is the only other character in the movie.
And hilariously, it was played by Matthew Lillard.
Yes.
Who is Shaggy.
Who's Shaggy these days.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's what I'd say. It's like, I mean, when I was watching, it's like right off the bat, they started to kind of imply ghost stuff going on with his, like, sister talking to people that aren't there. And then it got to where, like, he starts having, like, these dreams, which is an ongoing thing that I don't even want to get into, but he has these dreams.
When you're done.
I don't want to go into that level of detail. I just want to give our general thoughts. I didn't want to do a full review on this. But, like, it was like, when he has the dream and there's 5 ghost kids, it's like, okay, well, and, like, one kid's wearing bunny ears, one kid's wearing a top hat. It's like, okay, obviously, like, you just showed your hand fully. These are the kids possessing the dolls. Like, I didn't think we were supposed to even know that at this point. But then, like, in the a few scenes later, they outright say that there are these kids that were killed and now are possessed. Like, they just spell it out plain as day for you.
Well, again, I feel like we all knew that anyways, because this movie is intended for people who already have played FNAF.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
It's like why hide it?
Well, it's like I said, you could at least pretend that we don't know everything. It makes just for a more satisfying plot progression to have things.
Yeah, I guess there is a little bit of you already know what's going on, so we're just gonna skip the build up.
Yeah, we're gonna skip the build up and get to the part that and my biggest criticism though, like, is that's what I'm getting at too. Is like, as a fan service movie, this didn't even really work. It didn't even really do the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff.
That's the thing, because it's like it's a fan service. They're making it with fan service stuff, but at the same time, it's like it's so unlike the games that I feel like I'm watching a different story.
Exactly.
Entirely.
It's like it had the plot. It's like it handled.
It had the same premise.
Well, it handled the plot like you know it from the games, but then it, like, the way the movie played out was nothing like the games. Like, I wanted a scene where he's in the office trying to hold the robots out.
Yeah.
I wanted to see that because that's the scariest part of the games. That's the tense part. That just doesn't ever happen.
Yeah,
in the
like
movie.
you remember that one movie you watched, the Come Play with the Larry and the.
Yeah.
You remember the security booth?
Yeah.
Just make that scene. That was a scarier scene than this movie.
Yeah, it's like you just never even got that. The thing the game is most known for is it didn't even happen in the movie.
Yeah.
And, like, his first real interaction with the animatronics was them playing with his sister.
Oh, yeah.
And, they just immediately
It's a weird
diffused.
lull in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's like, they're scary, and then it's like, oh, they're fine, and then they go back to being vengeful spirits.
And then even that, like, they just
doesn't make sense.
they immediately diffuse all the horror from the animatronics, which was supposed to be the whole draw of the movie, is the scary animatronics.
Animatronics look good, though.
Yeah, the animatronics look great. That was true. Like, they did a really good job. They made a really good choice of building, like, actual practical puppets to be the animatronics. They didn't use any CGI. I mean, I'm sure there was a little bit, but...
There's always CGI.
Yeah, there's always CGI. But
touch-ups, though.
But for the most part, it was all actual full animatronics that were built, and they looked great. That all was good. But then, they just, like, they gave them one scene that was just, did not even really serve the plot, where they got to do some horror stuff and kill some people that broke into the pizzeria.
So, when I say this movie is really incoherent, I'm just gonna give a quick rundown of the various things that don't totally make sense. Vanessa throughout the whole movie is, by the way, she's a cop, and then it turns out that she's the Afton's daughter, and then the whole movie, she just does. It's like, I was genuinely wondering, is she even a real cop? Like, she doesn't feel like a person. She's irritating, and I don't understand what she's doing. That's what Afton at the very beginning of the movie. It's like, oh, he kidnapped Garrett, and he's the one who killed him, and so he wants to find him. So then he's like, oh, I recognize your last name. I'm going to say you work here. So it's like, okay, so why didn't you just kill him then? Why'd you have to wait a few days? Like, what was you actually trying to accomplish?
Well, I think he was trying to, like, kill him and stuff him in a puppet.
Well, I know, but, like, at the end of the movie, he's already been doing this for a week, and he's like, you were just supposed to keep him in the dark.
And then why didn't he kill him at any point?
Yeah, why didn't he just kill him on the first night? Like, if that was his motive. And how does he control? He controls the ghosts of the kids, apparently by way of a magic drawing on a magic wall. And the way they kill him at the end is she draws a new drawing where he's killing them instead of holding their hands, and then she pins that to the wall, and then suddenly they are able to. And it's like, Did we? We didn't establish any of this.
Well,
We're just
that-
going.
that was
Are we making this up as we go?
No, that was a callback to the psychologist at the beginning.
know,
said
but,
that,
like-
that was like a Chekhov's gun moment where she said like, power, like
I know
drawings,
pictures are important to kids.
Yeah,
But like
pictures
what?
have a lot of power for kids. It's how they communicate. Blah blah blah.
I know, but
and then like they foreshadowed that
make
like
sense.
that was like the animatronics love drawings, and so it was like there was a drawing on the wall of them all being friends with the yellow bunny, which is a William Afton in his spring lock suit.
Who killed them? So then they forgot about it because he showed them a picture while they were ghosts of him being
Somehow,
friends.
yeah, they didn't
Like,
really explain
what?
that. Somehow he like erased their memories and made them believe they were all friends, and then
Yeah.
her drawing the picture of what really happened and putting on the wall. I mean, I did like the ending when they actually got their vengeance. That part was played out pretty cool.
Well,
Where
yeah,
the-
that was just straight from the game.
Yeah, where the spring trap suit goes off and kills
Yeah, and then
him.
they lock him in a cell. Though again, this is a fan service because it's like you take the first in the games. He's dead long before the games happen. He's already a walking corpse. The spirits aren't vengeful; they just hate adults. And it's like it's just a weird mishmash of stuff from the first 3 games in an organized in a way that doesn't really feel like it makes sense. And I mean, like he says his whole like, "Oh, I always come back," but it's like I know what that means from the games, but it makes no sense in this context. What do you mean you always come back?
You always come.
You've never died before.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't. I get. It's like, oh, it's the line. That's the thing he says in the games. It's like, yeah, but why? It doesn't make sense here. Is he say? How is he planning on coming back from this?
Yeah, that's kind of the biggest issue. The movie's just kind of a jumbled mess of like both fan service, but also trying to do its own thing and be independent from the games. But
Yeah.
it just never really finds. It never just commits to one of those. It just ends up somewhere in the middle.
I think if it had just, if it's like, I would have been fine with it being, I was trying to look at it the whole time. It's like, okay, just take this as a movie. Here's the thing. How does it do these things? And it's just, it doesn't, because you start out with the evil aunt who wants to steal custody of his child. And, oh, by the way, she gets murdered at the end, and then they never bring it up again. Like, there was no fallout from that.
I didn't think that was an issue, honestly. I didn't think.
Well,
it
it's just
mattered.
like, it just didn't even come up.
She was just there.
She's
to
there to
kind
be
of-
an evil.
She was just there to get the plot moving.
Yeah.
She was the
And then,
pressure that.
and then he
that I
takes
thought
the
was
job.
fine.
Yeah, and then he takes the job, and then there's a big lull in the middle where we have the obligatory scene where disposable characters break in so that they can all get murdered in quick succession. And then also they were acting on orders from the aunt to frame him. He never finds out, by the way, that the aunt was trying to frame him and illegally get behind the back. Like
It didn't.
it's a weird
matter.
subplot that doesn't really go anywhere.
It didn't matter at all. It was. Just,
And then he
it
goes
was-
back, and then the animatronics
it was
are friendly again, and then
Yeah, it was just entirely so they could give the robots a chance to do a horror and kill.
we
a
had
few
to do a
people.
horror scene.
Yeah, do a horror scene, kill a few people before they go to being the friendly kids in the robot suits that
Yeah.
are just misunderstood.
They build a
and
fort together.
And they build a fort with
And
play
then-
with the daughter, or
and
not
it's
the
all
daughter,
great.
the little sister.
Yeah,
and
the sister.
that's what I mean. It's like they just immediately just diffused any horror.
Yeah, I
from
wasn't
these
sure what tone we
animatronics.
were going for a
Yeah.
large part of it. It's like, okay, wait, so is this supposed to be more like a thriller? Is this like Black Phone or not? Did you ever see Black Phone?
Yeah, it was good.
Okay, yeah, because that's not a horror movie. That's a thriller movie.
It had some horror in it too, but yeah, it worked more as a thriller. But either way, yeah. So I mean, honestly, my ideal version of this movie would have been like, start off with do an actual Five Nights at Freddy scene. Like, I let the robots actually be intimidating. Don't go right into the ghost plot. Let us let there be some mystery around what's happening. Let there be a couple of nights of, I mean, I think that's probably the reason why they didn't do that is because. The games themselves are very just gameplay first. The plot just kind of comes second.
The plot's in the background the whole time.
Like, when you look at the first game, like, logically none of it makes sense. Like, there's a battery that closes the door. When the battery runs out, the door opens. That's entirely a gameplay mechanic. There's no logic in that in real
I
world
think the
logic.
explanation is that it's the door, for whatever reason, is powered by something pushing it down like a big spring.
Yeah,
So when the
exactly.
power comes off, it just goes up again.
Well, it makes sense in the context of a video game.
I mean, it's like, I can see how you could build a door like that, but why would you build a door like that?
Well, exactly. And I see why they couldn't put I see why they couldn't adapt some of that into the movie and have it make sense, which is probably why, night one in the game is a pretty big thing. That's when Bonnie comes to life and, you get your first taste of the horror, and then it just escalates from there. In the movie, if that had happened, he probably would have just never come back.
No, honestly, what would have they really should. They tried. I feel like here's what I'm gonna say. I think that most of this movie's problems are they tried to give it. I know the game is plot light, but they tried to give the movie too much plot. I honestly think it would have been better if we had just had a very minimalist plot where it is actually just a guy doing security and his house is being foreclosed upon. So despite it, he just keeps coming back, and then we just do the games and just pad it out so that there's scenes and just do the game. I feel like that would have been better than trying to put all this plot in. And it's just too much. Yeah.
I mean, I felt like him having the sister was good. Like, I actually kind of liked that relationship. I thought that was pretty well done. and she worked as like a driving force for him to do it. So maybe they could even play onto that. He went to the thing, and like maybe not even night 1, but like at least night 2 or 3, like Bonnie comes to life and he has to try to survive it, and then like I don't know. Did he even actually spend 5 nights at Freddy's in this movie? Did they actually?
I think they were there for 5 nights.
Yeah, but that was kind of just like more coincidental than anything. But either way, I don't know. I don't really.
Now get back to doing your job. Spending 5 nights at Freddy's. There was no title drop.
Yeah.
That was I was thinking of the one scene where she was like, I just thought that's just what I thought of. It's like just a really forced title drop.
Right,
now go do your job for 5 nights at Freddy's.
All right. Well, we've talked for about 18 minutes now. I don't really have anything else to say. Do you?
I mean, at this point, we'd just be repeating, and we've got like a bunch more movies that we have to watch so that we can do the rest of this. So, I think that's good enough for now.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, final thoughts. 6 out of 10. It's okay.
My final thoughts are,
All right.
That movie sucked.
All right, yeah, we just watched Scooby-Doo and Krypto 2 because we always watch the new Scooby-Doo movie as part of our annual tradition.
One comes out every year.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah, they have not been good the past couple years. But yeah, I honestly don't want to spend much time talking about this one. It was very bad.
Yeah, it's very bad. It's every...
The animation sucked.
Yeah.
I'm pissed off that it actually made us laugh twice.
Twice.
It had 2 genuinely funny jokes, and the fact that they were in this movie just makes me really upset.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you feel guilty when you laugh at like Family Guy, and it's like you don't want to laugh, but they're good sometimes, and it's like that's how it was with this movie. In the whole movie, there's 2 jokes, and you feel bad for laughing at them because you don't think the movie deserves it.
Yeah,
because it doesn't.
Because yeah, most of the jokes were just so in your face, over the head. Like they just, I guess they were so concerned about you missing their clever writing that they just smacked you in the face with their jokes like they were a shovel.
Yeah. So here's the plot of this movie. The Justice League is gone, and there's a ghost, and Lois Lane sees the ghost and is like, "Oh, clearly this must be a ghost and not just a metahuman. Quick, call the Scooby Gang." And then they get there, and all the villains are there, and then Lex Luthor's there also. Then they go through the Hall of Justice, bing, bang, boom, they solve the day, they fight a bunch of bulldozer robots at the end. Let's just say the movie is incredibly predictable. Besides the bad animation, it's very... I lost my train of thought.
There's not much else to say. It was really bad.
Let's just say, okay, so you see the ghost, it turns out it's the, like... I thought it's like, oh, it's just the Justice League in the Phantom Zone trying to get out of the Phantom Zone. And these 2 characters are being really obvious red herrings, so it's clearly not them based on current Scooby-Doo rules. Surprise, it's Mercy, the beleaguered assistant who seemed really unassuming. She had the Phantom Projector. We saw this coming not even 10 minutes into the movie.
I don't know.
The movie's 7 minutes long.
I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I'm good not talking about this one. This movie sucked. Coming up next, what movie are we going to watch next?
I don't know, but I need another energy drink.
Oh, already?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, hello, welcome back. We just got back from watching Final Prayer, also known as apparently the Borderlands, in across the pond.
Yeah. So yeah, this was a found footage horror film about some guys from the Vatican investigating a supposedly haunted church. And
found footage, it's not really found because it's not like Blair Witch where it's like we found this tape and then we watched the tape. This is like here's a bunch of footage that it's different.
It's like it's found footage, but the footage wasn't technically found.
Yeah.
It's like Paranormal Activity, where it's like, it's all recorded from the perspective of actual like setup cameras and stuff, and all the characters are wearing like monitor cameras, and there's like an in-story explanation for why they're all wearing cameras and stuff, which of course is that they have to document everything for the Vatican. But yeah, that being said, I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was pretty well done for like found footage. I think that found footage horror is often used as just a way to make like lazy, cheap horror movies, but I think this is one that actually did it well. It actually did it right by having just kind of a slow build. It let the world feel real, let the characters kind of develop and feel real, so that when the horror actually started, it felt like it was actually disrupting something normal.
It takes its time on ramping up, but like once you get to the last it's a tight 93 minutes, but the last half hour is where things really start going wrong. And it really does take its time building, and I'm not meaning that in a negative sense. I thought it was quite good.
Yeah, I think it really...
basic... Oh, sorry.
But I was just I think it really benefited from being a tight 90, because, I think the slow burn would have started to feel kind of like a drag if it had gone on much longer, but I think it kind of played it. I think it balanced it out pretty well. So.
Yeah. No. I guess we should probably say what the plot. So the plot is that some Vatican dudes are. Wait, did you say that?
Yeah, I already said what it's about.
We said all that already. So
yeah.
Vatican dudes are investigating church. There's like ghosts and moving stuff.
Potentially. This is one, honestly, I don't really want to spoil, I think.
You want to leave it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we really need... I think I've given our thoughts on it without actually spoiling it. But yeah, this is one, I think if you go into it blind, the ending was genuinely disturbing. And I think not knowing about it going in is beneficial. So this is one I don't think we really need to spoil.
All right. I will... The only thing more that I'll say is that... I'm not quite sure. It seems like there are two different types of things going on.
Yeah, I feel
I'm
like...
not sure how they both fit together.
I feel like this is one of those movies that would benefit from a second watching, because it was kind of one of those things where, it's hinting toward one explanation for the entire movie, and then the ending is something different than what you've come to expect.
It takes a turn from one subgenre of horror into a different subgenre of horror right at the end.
Yeah, but I think that what it turns out to be does explain some of what was seen. So I'm curious if, like, watching it again, you would find more things. I think there are still a few things that just aren't fully explained, but I mean, I think it's
okay.
Yeah, which is fine. Yeah, it is horror, and I think that honestly, it's one of those things where it could be both at the same time, and that would make sense as well.
I mean, honestly, yeah, because it's primarily a religious horror because it's Vatican, haunted church, potentially haunted church, and all that. So. It's religious horror, so your first natural assumption is, oh, maybe it's demons. And it might be, but honestly, by the end, I can't be sure. Can't be sure.
Yep. All right. Well,
So what are we... So I think, this time I know we're going to watch because I want to prioritize it. Tune in 30 seconds for you and an hour and a half for us when we give you our thoughts on Emesis Blue.
Is that all right?
We're watching that next. I've been wanting to watch that with you for months.
All right. Let's do it.
Yeah. And we're back. I've already seen this before, so I'm going to let you start. Tell me your thoughts on Emesis Blue.
So it didn't help that I'm tired. I had to rewatch part of it because I kind of dozed off. I've had enough. My cat just entered.
There's the cat.
The cat just entered the room. Anyways, I've had...
The dog's licking the cat's face.
I think I've had enough caffeine, I think, to kill a small child, but I'm still struggling to stay awake.
The Placeholder podcast does not advocate the killing of small children.
Thanks. But yeah, Emesis Blue made no goddamn sense. I don't know what was happening. I find it hilarious that you love this but hate Nolan movies.
No.
To me, this was the same level of crazy and like abstract as like Tenet or Inception, except those movies I actually understood after watching it.
It made sense to me.
Emesis Blue, I have no idea what the hell happened. It was really impressive. Like, it looked great. It was really well made, especially for being a source film. It was great in all of that way. Like, it was good objectively, but it was very abstract. I had a very hard time following what was actually happening, and I don't think it was just because I was tired. So from what I gathered, though, it started off pretty standard with like the medic the medic talking to the scout, and then the scout was talking about nightmares he was having, which is implied to be like some sort of symptom of the respawn machine, because he's just been like retired because there was some like default or some defect in the respawn machine that gave him like some kind of brain damage that made them basically lay him off. And they being Blue, which is the Blue company that they work for. And then
we're assuming you have at least a basic knowledge of TF2 lore,
which I really didn't, to be completely honest. So that probably didn't help me at all either.
I feel like you really do. I showed this to my dad once and he doesn't know anything about TF2. And
what did he think of it? Did he understand it?
I mean, he understood. He had me to help explain parts, but my dad, he's not good with esoteric movies.
Yeah.
Yes, I will admit, this is a somewhat esoteric movie.
Yeah,
that's part of the fun.
And once again, that's just why I find it hilarious that you like this, but you hate Nolan movies on principle because he likes to make things confusing.
Nolan is trying to do it, and he thinks it makes him a genius. That's part of the reason I have a problem with it. And everyone else thinks he's a genius, and it's like, no, he just doesn't make sense.
And so then what's different with Emesis Blue, where they were
It's all in the intent.
I think they were trying to be...
in my opinion.
I think they were trying to be confusing.
Well, they weren't trying to be confusing. They were trying to do psychological horror. Well, okay. If there's a little bit of leeway, Nolan makes sci-fi primarily. I mean, I know he does other things, but his sci-fi seems to be his main genre.
And sci-fi shouldn't be confusing. This is psychological horror. When you do anything horror-related, you've got a lot more leeway in what you can do and what you have to explain. In horror stories, I almost expect that things aren't fully explained because that's part of what makes things scarier is not fully explaining it. So if in a sci-fi story everything's all non-linear and all over the place, it's just annoying. But in a horror story, if things don't totally make sense, I'm fine with it because it's a horror story, and so that's part of the difference. I'd say.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, a separate discussion, I guess. But I think when it's non-linear, it's because it makes like Tenet was a time travel movie, so it kind of made sense for that to be non-linear. And Inception was about dreams, so I think I think it does serve the whatever. Anyways, Emesis Blue. Basically, like so that was like plot A was that, and then like the medic, or then the scout and his mom are murdered supposedly by the medic, and then
maybe not the medic.
And then, I don't know, like it's implied to be the people are led to believe it was the medic who did it.
Yes. Well, you see, there's some symbolism there. Should I just start? You want me to just start going through?
Let me finish going through.
Do you have any questions?
I'll just go. Let me finish going through my description of what happened, I guess, and then you fill in the gaps.
All right.
And then the spy and the soldier are looking for Archibald. What's his face? Because he's
governor of New Mexico.
He's the governor, and he's apparently a person of interest for Blue. And they're trying to find him because he's supposedly been kidnapped. And then what happened after that? So then their paths end up crossing because their hunt for the guy leads them to Scout's apartment because the briefcase.
Which ones?
The spy and soldier, they end up at Scout's apartment looking for Archibald because of the briefcase or something. Or no, it was the briefcase. They were trying to get the briefcase from Heavy.
They were following the hearse, and then they took him to the house, and then they got the lead, which led them to the medic, which led them to the slaughterhouse.
Yeah, and then the medic also ends up at the slaughterhouse because someone slips an envelope under his door that has a key in it, and then there's like a message left on his wall in blood that has the name of the slaughterhouse, and then they all end up going to the slaughterhouse, which apparently is run by the engineers.
Conager brothers.
Yeah, the Conager brothers, who are the engineers, and apparently there's 3 of them, but one of them's already dead, supposedly.
In this lore. There's not 3 in actual
Yeah,
TF2.
I'm talking just in the context. I don't know TF2 lore at all, so when I'm talking exclusively about this movie, because this is my only exposure to the lore. But yeah, there's the 3 engineers, and Conager, and then they all go inside, and then that's where things just go completely off the rails. There's like zombies that apparently are like failed respawns, although that's never directly said in the movie. That was the thing, that was what was weird for me, is you told me that this whole thing was like, the whole premise of this is it was kind of like a horror movie based on the concept of the respawn machine.
Yeah.
But then they never once directly said that what was happening was because of the respawn machine,
sure
right?
They did. They mentioned it a bunch of times that the respawn machine only works for certain people, and that there's a 1% chance of causing any number of physical or mental deformities.
Yeah, so
such
they
as
imply it all. So you have
brain atrophy and the slaughterhouse mercenaries, various things.
Yeah, they tell you all that, but then they never tell you directly that one thing led to that. Like that's what led to. Like I don't know. There's a part where there's the zombies.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was a reference to Resident Evil 1.
Yeah. Anyways, long story short, stuff gets crazy. Soldier finds Demo Man, and they escape the zombies and stuff, and then he finds like possibly Archibald, but then maybe he didn't actually exist. Demo Man dies in a freezer because he thinks he's in a bar drinking with the bartender from The Shining.
Yep. But it's actually Dell.
And then it's actually the third Conager brother who's
not.
Who's actually dead. And then Soldier ends up going through just like a bunch of tunnels. He gets a flashback about how Archibald was selling the respawn machine to both the red team and the blue team and playing both sides and prolonging the war as long as possible to profit off of it, which is all fine. And then the spy kills Archibald because he figures out all this stuff, maybe?
No.
Well, the spy kills Archibald.
Finish your thing and then I'll also explain some stuff.
I don't know. The spy kills Archibald. Soldier escapes the slaughterhouse, and then the medic is framed for the Archibald's murder, and then the medic is also killed. But then I'm assuming he's respawned by the machine because he's alive at the funeral.
It's because of his resurrective immortality. That's not explained, by the way. Don't ask because I don't know.
Oh, right, because, yeah, he can just revive,
Yeah.
which I think is probably just a result of, I don't know, him being the medic or
It's
something.
not fully explained.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, he just has the ability to revive, like, without, like, he can just resurrect himself without the respawn machine. But either way,
Yeah.
he comes out of Archibald's coffin, kills the spy who was trying to frame the medic for everything, and then he goes and dies in an ambulance crash, but then in his mind, he's actually, like, and then, like, he goes to a bar that's also run by the third Conager brother, and then it reveals he's actually dead.
And then there's an orb in the Pulp Fiction briefcase.
Yeah, and then then the briefcase, they finally show what was inside of it the whole time, and it was a weird red orb.
There's the orb.
And then it turns out the pills they were taking were actually from the Emesis company the whole time, and that matters for some reason.
Yep.
That they never actually tell you why that
Look,
matters.
you got to do a lot of your own research to understand this movie.
Yeah, see, if you have to do research outside of the movie to understand the movie, it's probably not.
You don't need to. I just find it fun to do so.
The movie made
And
no.
take the movie as itself.
Yeah, I took it as
Lots
it's.
there.
It's somewhere in there, yeah, but it made no goddamn sense to me. I can appreciate it for what it was. It looked great. It was, like, really well made for being a source film. Like, I constantly forgot that this was a source filmmaker thing, or that it was TF2 for that matter. It's very well made.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd probably be better on a second watching.
I mean, well,
if
yeah,
I choose to
once
do
you
that,
know some
but
stuff, you watch it again, it'll fall into place.
I guess. Okay, so yeah, I guess then you tell me what I'm missing.
All right, well, let's see. I'll just start going through some stuff and see what we can do about this. So, where should I start? Give me a starting point.
I don't know. Explain just what was happening. What was happening at the? Sorry, I was grabbing my cat. Say hi, Nisa. Thanks.
Well, she knocked it over.
Yeah, I think they picked the cat away. Anyways, just start explaining it, I guess.
You're gonna want to grab that. I don't think it can hear you anymore.
It's fine. We got two mics in here. I'm sure they're picking up something.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, what was going on with Scout in the beginning and the medic and like so I know I got that. He was having nightmares because of the resurrection machine or whatever.
Okay.
And then what happened with his apartment?
All right, so let's go over this. Scout recently he got fired because he became a victim of that 1% of failures that resulted in brain atrophy, so he got laid off. He was planning on suing Blue. They sent somebody over to capture him because they didn't want that to happen. The reason they was watching the movie M, if you know anything about that movie, it's an old German movie. But basically, in the movie M, there's a serial killer going around killing children, and the members of the community start working to help with that. Not because they're concerned, not only because they're concerned about it, but also because they're worried that the increased police presence will uncover their shady dealings, and so they're trying to help to get it taken care of.
Oh, now I get why that's symbolic. Yeah.
Huh?
Now I get why that's like.
Yeah, so
relevant.
that's the thing with Scout. They sent somebody. If he sues, they're going to find out all the horrific things they've done to the respawn machine. Basically, to get that thing working, they experimented on hundreds of thousands of death row inmates. Jules Archibald was building that with his company.
Oh yeah, I got that part, and then the 10
And they found
mercenaries.
basically 10 people that it was compatible with, and one of them killed himself. That's why there's only 9 people in TF2. And so he sold the machine to both sides of the conflict, so they could basically endlessly replicate the same mercenaries over and over again to use as mercenaries. And then the ones that failed are. We see like the zombie ones, which are failed respawns. We see all the slaughterhouse mercenaries, which are failed respawns. And you have to understand that the respawn machine in Conager Slaughterhouse must be in a serious state of disrepair. They've got the red medic who is trying other methods of reviving people, which revives the heavy, and has to maybe deal with the sniper because he got his leg blown off and shows up later in a more decayed state, but it's clearly the same guy. And there's also the matter of the respawn gap, which Blutarch was insisting they need to get rid of, because it's basically, if you've ever read Stephen King's Emesis Blue takes a lot of influence from that, with the idea being that even if the machine recreates you, it takes forever for your brain. It's like, it's an eternity in there. And longer than you think and it's eternity in there are two things that are directly quoted from the Jaunt, which you can find in the book Skeleton Crew, if you were interested in that. But so there's that's being constantly killed and then brought back and having to wait an indeterminate amount of time on the other side has a tendency to drive people crazy, which is also why the Slaughterhouse Mercenaries were in such a state of disrepair. It had a bunch of failed respawns. What else anywhere else you want me to fill in? Any other gaps that you're having trouble with?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like Yeah.
I can do my best.
Some of that's kind of, yeah, I mean, I guess when you say that, like, it makes sense. Like, I see how all that was there. It's just really hard to piece together just from what, like, it's really hard to piece it out that definitely from what happens in the movie itself. What the hell happened with Soldier? What was going on with him just entirely?
Okay.
Like,
So, yes, Soldier... I mean, everybody else, I can't say definitively because it may or may not be true, but I personally believe that everybody else with the respawn process is just basically being cloned a lot. But Soldier specifically was was one of the death row inmates who signed up for the things. He was executed personally by Archibald and then basically cloned over and over again to be a personal assistant for the spy, which is also why the spy said... really doesn't care about him because he's easily replaceable, and why earlier he mentions, I don't know what unit you think you came from, because he doesn't act, he's a clone, it's all false memories for Soldier.
oh, so he never actually was in...
Yeah. Soldier has never actually done anything because that Soldier is already one in who knows how many a line of clones created to be his personal assistant.
Yeah, and see, that I don't...
By Archibald, and then with the respawn machine and all that.
Yeah, I don't know where in the movie they said he was a clone.
With the tanks of clones in the cryogenic freezing room and the pictures of Jules Archibald executing him.
Yeah, see, that's where it gets confusing.
It's all there.
Well, see, that's what's hard for me. Is like I saw all of that, but it was mixed in with all the actual just esoteric nonsense that was happening, so I can't tell what's actually real and what's happening and hints to the plot and what's just there to look weird.
Well, hold on a second. I know. Get that.
What?
That's my twisty do.
Twisty dude.
I forgot. I don't remember. What do you ever call it?
What's this for?
The cord.
Oh.
It's
a twist tie for his microphone cord. My cat was playing with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't. At this point, look, I naturally look into everything. I don't do things halfway in this regard. But it doesn't hurt the fact that at this point I have now seen this movie 3 times.
Yeah, so honestly, I think I just kind of summed up perfectly why I'm struggling to understand this movie so much is because yeah, it's like there's all that there. There was the tanks of clones, but then also there was the scene where Demo Man went into that lab thinking it was a bar because reasons, and he goes in there and drinks and then freezes to death. So it's like, he walks in there and sees a bar. Then
that's a vision at that point. He's just freezing to death at that point.
Yeah.
Dying dream.
Sure, yeah. I mean, they never say that, but yeah, you can kind of figure that's what's happening. Like he just walks in there, and then when the soldier goes in there and finds him, he's frozen to death because it's a cryogenic room or whatever. Like I got that he died, but then like it leads me to think then, okay, well, why is what the soldier's seeing in this room any more real than what the Demo Man saw? Like
because the Demo Man saw a bar, the soldier just saw the lab. Because that's what it actually...
Yeah, but then the lab was full of tanks with copies of him in it. That looks just as esoteric and weird as him walking in and seeing a bar with, the ghost bartender to me.
I don't know. For me, it's very clear that one is a dying dream and one is clones. That just makes sense to me.
I guess, but then it's because then the soldier goes and falls through the fly of despair into like a tunnel of hell with bodies and stuff, and so it's like, is that also a dying dream? What the hell is that?
That part is also symbolic. Well, you got to remember that Conager Slaughterhouse in this context is a genuine eldritch location that is itself supernatural and twists reality around it. So, in addition to the sci-fi stuff, there is genuine supernatural stuff that is genuinely unexplained, but other than this is just a cursed location that causes things to happen.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I'm struggling with it so much. It's because we've got eldritch location, weird supernatural stuff. Literally anything can happen, but then littered throughout that is stuff that is actual hints to this actually pretty complex plot that's happening. And if I feel like if they had just committed to one, not the other, it would have made more sense. I mean, I appreciate what they did, though. I get psychological horror. It's not really supposed to completely make sense. But that's why I'm struggling to understand it, because watching it, I could not understand what was actually happening and what was meant to just be symbolic or whatever. Nisa, hey. Oh my gosh. My cat is being a pest. Say hi, Nisa.
Gosh, is he going to knock the microphone over?
Yep, I got it. Okay, anyways, continue.
You were the one talking.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, the soldier, but yeah, that's what I mean. Like then the soldier gets separated from the spy. The spy ends up having a fight with the pyro, and then like
it's called the Butcher, by the way, in this one.
Did they ever actually call him that?
It's in the credits.
Oh.
Or in the production stuff. There's behind the scenes stuff. He's not named.
Either way, yeah. Anyways, but yeah, then the soldier and the spy get separated, and the soldier goes off and has his own adventure, and then he ends up falling into a pit behind a vending machine that has like just tons of copies of his body, which is symbolic of.
Those are just bodies. They just use it. They're limited by the source filmmaker engine, but those are just supposed to be bodies.
Yeah, which then that's another piece of this that gets a little confusing. Is that since they're working with only the Team Fortress 2 models, they just have to use like the same models in different costumes and say that's different characters. But then sometimes it's like, well, maybe that's the same character. Exactly. So then when like, the soldier sees a tank with a copy of him in it, it's like, is that actually him or are they just reusing the model because that's what they have to work with?
Those are actually him.
Okay, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's just it seems kind of arbitrary what's real and what's not. So it is a lot of it's just them working with the limitations they have, but it does add just an extra piece of complication. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a cool movie though. I liked it.
I don't remember if I explained. The reason he killed Archibald is because, one, he's selfish and only cares about himself. When he found out that basically Jules Archibald was Jules Archibald does not work for Blue. He works for Blue, but they basically get a lot of kickbacks from Jules Archibald, who publicly supports them, but is under the table supporting Red. He basically takes the position of the administrator from the actual comics, who's the one playing both sides of the conflict. But in this one, basically he has him do his dirty work, kill the people who need to be killed, gives him what he wants in exchange. But when he basically found out that after everything he went through, that Archibald wasn't actually kidnapped and was basically just hiding out because he was trying to avoid trial for the war crimes that were about to come to light. He was basically hiding out, and he had him sent out to go find him, and that led to him getting horrifically burned. And so he's like, "Well, just screw you then," and then shoots him. And then he sets it up so that someone else will take the fall, and he'll take over Archibald's stuff.
Okay, yeah, I guess.
But anyways, that's the last plot point, I think.
Yeah.
Any others that you need?
Explain what the hell is going on with the medic and why he's like his reflections talking to him. Is that just symptoms of the respawn machine? No, except he doesn't respawn. He just has immortality.
Well, see, all of them have been through the respawn machine. So if the resurrective immortality is not explained, is it a side effect? Maybe. What's the deal with the Undertaker? Don't totally know. He was at the funeral, but I don't know if you noticed.
The Undertaker?
Yeah, that guy that he had a dream of at the beginning, who then stole the briefcase and drove the black hearse.
Oh, the guy with like the plague mask?
Yeah, the Undertaker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that guy. What's the deal with him? Don't totally know.
See, and then that's another piece that makes it more confusing. Yeah.
Explain, but that's fine in horror because in horror you don't have to explain. It's one of the few genres you're given that leeway.
It's fine, but it's just another piece of this that just gives me a headache. It's like, there's an actual plot somewhere in there, but it's covered with all this stuff. It's like, okay, some of it's real, some of it's not, some of it's just not explained. Did you miss something, or is it just one of the things that's not explained? It gives me a headache. I don't know.
What was I just thinking about? It was not the spine, not the med. Oh yeah, what was going on with the medic? So the diazepam drug. They reveal that it's Emesis diazepam because Valium is just a sleeping drug.
Yeah.
Help them sleep. And diazepam, I don't totally remember what it's for. I just know that the side effects of it can include like falling over a lot, having hallucinations, and things that kind of resemble schizophrenia and amnesia. So they're giving it to the blue team because they're trying to compensate for the respawn gap thing and get them to forget their time on the other side. But it's implied in several points. Oh gosh, the cat. It's implied at several points that Medic over-medicates on it, so that could be contributing to his psychosis. Or he might just actually be crazy. How much of it is him and not explained. They do this kind of recurring motif where he's constantly bathed in either in red and blue light to signify the fact that he might have a split personality.
Yeah, exactly. Because that was the part that was weird, is that he went. Okay, that's the part that just never seemed to be explained. Was that he went to Scout's house because why did I don't remember why he went back. He went back. I don't remember what.
He just decided, maybe I should go check.
Oh, yeah, I guess he went to check on Scout, and then he went in there, found Scout and his mom. Or I guess Scout was gone. His mom was dead.
Can we talk about that? I really love that shot where Scout just turns and the mom's head is around the corner, and then it gets dropped. That's like one of the creepiest friggin' things I've ever seen.
Cinematography in this. Shot. Well, yeah, all the cinematography in this movie was amazing. Like from a production standpoint, from visual standpoint, the movie was a 10 out of 10. It's I mean, I don't know. It's probably sounds like I hated it, but no, I really enjoyed it. It's just definitely not a movie. Don't like I really like to understand movies when I watch them. I like to know what's happening, and I can tell you do too. But I like being able to figure it out on my own if I can. So that's why this movie was frustrating for me. But I still enjoyed it for what it is. But yeah, no. So either way, so yeah, he goes there. But then what happens is the medic, he sees the mom, and then he just like passes out and smacks his head on the corner of the counter. But then he wakes up in his office with his hands covered in blood.
Did someone bring him there, or did he bring himself back?
Well, exactly. That's what I mean. Is like split personality. So then that's like why he ended up being like accused of killing the scout and why like all that.
And then if there's the fact that the scout hates him later, which also implies that it was him.
Yeah, the scout was afraid of him, which implies that he was the one that did that to him.
Very well might have been.
Yeah, and that's just one of the
things. For sure? No, we don't.
Yeah, that's just one of the things that was never.
Of course, at the end, that's him. He died. That's him he's reuniting with Scout in the afterlife at Dell's bar. But of course, the question becomes: how long has he been dead, and will he revive again? Unknown. The movie ends before it can. And then there's a red orb in the briefcase. It's not explained what that is. Don't ask. It's just mysterious.
I guess it's just like the Pulp Fiction box of light.
Yeah. Well, everyone knows what's inside the Pulp Fiction briefcase.
It's a light bulb.
No, it's a light bulb and a certificate indicating the authenticity of the briefcase. If you know what I'm talking about, good for you.
I don't know. I mean, I felt like the briefcase was... that didn't bother me. They handled it like the Pulp Fiction briefcase where, they never tell you what's in it, but they don't dangle it in front of you like a carrot. Like,
it's a MacGuffin.
Well, it's not... it's just a MacGuffin. Like, that's the thing. In Pulp Fiction, you never feel like you're missing something because you don't find out what's in the briefcase. It really doesn't matter. It's just something there to drive the plot. Yeah, there's curiosity, but it's not like... Okay, it's a difference between that. Like, if it was a J.J. Abrams movie, he would be constantly taunting you with the mystery of what's in the briefcase and how exciting and life-changing it is, and then he would show you...
That'd be the genesis of the plot, is someone...
Yeah, it would be the briefcase.
How did J.J. Abrams do this?
Yeah, so that's the difference between that and then, like, Emesis Blue and, like, Pulp Fiction, it's like they have the briefcase. It's just kind of something there to drive the plot. The characters want it. The characters seem to know what's in it. At least some of them do. But it really doesn't... But because they know, we don't really need to.
Oh, yeah. It's the intel.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's probably really what it was. Just the intel from the game.
Well, in TF2, you have to get the briefcase.
Yeah, I'm sure that was just what it was. It was a reference to that. But
well, I mean, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
That one scene at the end with the hell door, that's a reference to a movie called The House That Jack Built. There's the cat again.
Anyways.
Oh, any other questions?
No.
Well, then I guess that's it. What's your final overall rating for this movie out of 12?
400 for the amount of milligrams of caffeine I have consumed.
Is that how much you've consumed?
2 energy drinks. Probably a little more than that, actually.
I've drank 4 diet sodas.
I've drank...
And also, I just naturally seem to have more energy in general.
I don't know. Anyways.
Well, what are we going to watch next?
I don't know. Stay tuned to find out.
No. Hi, welcome back. It's currently what are we at?
1:33 in the morning.
1:33 in the morning. I'm starting to get a little dizzy. He's tired. We just watched Skinamarink. Not the best movie for this time of night.
Yeah, I struggled to stay awake. I'm not sure if I did. Yeah, that was a weird movie. Probably one of the weirdest movies I have ever seen.
It's not... It's not weirder than Eraserhead.
Yeah, well...
No, Eraserhead is just so bizarre.
Yeah, but
Did we say the name of the movie? It's Skinamarink. I don't know if we said that.
I think we did, but
we watched that.
I don't know. Eraserhead's weird, but it's at least shot like a movie.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Eraserhead, there's the narrative is a little bit more linear.
Yeah, it's got a linear narrative.
It's
it just doesn't.
Though.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Skinamarink also, I mean, it makes sense, but
Skinamarink might be allegorical, but who the hell can tell with these art house movies?
I mean, I don't really think it's supposed to mean anything. Like, I think it really is just what it is at face value, which is basically just some entity torturing 2 children in a house.
Yeah. Here's the plot of Skinamarink. There's a family. There's 2 kids, Kaylee and Kevin, and they live with their dad. They don't live with their mom.
But they never say why.
Well, it's implied that like she may have been abusive somehow.
I don't know.
Just because of the way the kids talk about her. And then all of a sudden, their dad disappears, and then the windows and doors all disappear, and they're just trapped in a house, and things get wonky. And it's but like part of the reason it's all art housey is because it's like the guy is like, I'm just gonna put film grain on this, and I'm gonna always focus the camera not on where anyone is. It's gonna be pointed at the corner.
Yeah, the majority of this movie, like 99% of it, is just shots of random corners of that dark room.
Yeah, and then
with
stuff
film
happens,
grain
like,
over it
right off screen.
and muffled audio in the background.
Okay, we're making it. I feel like we're making it sound worse than it is. I actually was kind of into that.
Yeah, I mean I mean, we're not describing it inaccurately at all. What?
Oh, I thought she was. I don't know. Is that her claws?
I don't know.
The cat might be doing something to the air.
Don't worry about it.
You talk for a second. I'm gonna grab a picture.
Anyways, yeah, it's just like we're describing it completely accurately. Like, we're not exaggerating at all, like what this movie is like. But that being said, like, I wouldn't say it's bad. It's very much a slow burn. I feel like this would have been a lot less fun to watch alone when I didn't have somebody to talk to.
Yeah, that's probably true.
It is genuinely creepy, though. It does a really good job of just setting up a creepy atmosphere with, like, with the aforementioned weird camera stuff. And, yeah, it's weird.
Like,
it's really the best word for it. It's weird. But then there are some just genuinely really freaky scenes.
Yeah, no, it's like it's the whole time you're unsettled because the whole time it's like something's wrong. I just don't know to what extent, and then things get worse and like it just starts ramping up.
Yeah, as the movie progresses, things get more and more wrong.
Yeah, like the one scene where they got where the dad and the mom just suddenly appear in the bedroom and like they have their back turned the whole time and they barely acknowledge them and they're just like that scene is very good.
Yeah, and
very
just
unsettling scene.
Yeah, there's a lot of good scenes like that. But yeah, just overall, like,
I can totally understand why someone wouldn't like this movie.
Yeah, I understand. Like, this movie's got a lot of negative reviews, and I think they're all completely valid because this movie is like, there's a slow burn. There's like a good chunk of this movie where it feels like they didn't even light the candle. It's just the thing is, like, the guy that made it, apparently he like started with YouTube short films. Like, the proof of concept for this movie was a short film called Heck on YouTube.
I haven't watched that.
Yeah, I do want to watch that. But yeah, I feel like this concept kind of would work better as a shorter format because this movie was a little over 90 minutes. It was like an hour and 40
minutes.
Yeah, it was 99
minutes.
Yeah, it's like an hour 40 minutes, which is a long time for that. Like, I feel like the 30-minute short film would work a lot better for this, just I feel like the length kind of worked against it a little bit.
I feel like you definitely could trim it down a little bit, and honestly, it'd probably be better. But it wasn't a deal breaker for me because honestly, I read a lot of reviews because. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me again. I heard about the movie and I thought that sounds interesting, and I looked into it and I saw, there's a lot of negative reviews, and most of them basically are like, this movie is boring, nothing happens. And it's like, I'll be the judge of that. And then I watch it, and it's like, okay, I understand the complaints, but I liked it. I like these kinds of things.
Yeah, stuff does happen. It's just very sparse.
Yeah.
It comes across very intentional. It doesn't really feel like the intention was just to waste time or, pad it out. It feels like, they wanted long gaps between things happening so that when things happened, it actually matters.
Settle you.
Yeah,
probably doing that thing where it's like if you don't have as much structure, the lack of structure can also be unsettling. It's probably that deal. But also, I do. There's probably some element to it where it's like, because it's an experimental film, and it's like, this is experimental. That means we have to never look at it. He's probably going for the idea that not being able to see it is scarier if you have to imagine what's going on, and that's why everything's always off camera.
Well, in the film grain too,
point,
like,
it's like there's a lot of that.
And the film grain obscures things further, and there are times when they use that to their advantage, where it's like, it's like, is that actually something moving, or is that just the film grain being weird? And sometimes it actually is something weird happening.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but it's there's another part I wanted to talk about. It was I don't know. It wasn't bad.
What part were you talking?
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say like the short films on YouTube though, like the guy's entire YouTube channel is basically dedicated to recreating nightmares. Like most of his channels are like 1 or 2 minute videos that are just different nightmares, I guess, that users like told him about, and then he like put into a film. I think that's kind of what this is. Like, that's really the best way to describe this movie is it feels like a nightmare put on tape, but not like, not like a terrifying like nightmare, just like, it's unsettling. It feels unnatural.
I feel like if you were in this situation, that'd be terrifying. That's the thing. It's because they're kids. They don't totally get. They know that something's wrong, but it's like one of the kids is like 4 years old, so it's like there's only so much he can comprehend.
Yeah,
and that's how the movie's from that perspective. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely where most of the horror comes from, is that these are like super young kids that barely understand what's happening. There's some evil entity that's just torturing them, basically.
For fun, you ever read the Harlan Ellison story, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream?
Yes, yeah, I've read that. It's kind of like that. It's like someone's doing that to children, and so it's very disturbing.
But, more supernatural than... It's a lot more soft-spoken. That's what makes it worse. The computer in the story is very just, like, really angry all the time. The entity is just very subdued, and it's just like, hey!
Yeah, all of the dialogue in this movie is whispered.
Yeah, whispered and growled.
Yeah, a lot of it's muffled.
Yeah. Again, I feel like it were, honestly, I liked it.
Yeah, I can't say I didn't like it, but yeah, I feel like watching this alone would have been probably less of a fun experience. I see why this did well. Like, it was a movie that I think it started at film festivals, and that's kind of where it got traction and ended up in theaters. So I feel like, it's probably really fun to watch in like that festival setting when you can watch it with a bunch of people and like share your thoughts. I feel like then when it made it to streaming and people just see this horror movie and the premise sounds really interesting and they put it on and this is what they get, I can see why people didn't like it. But yeah, no, I think, the short film that's based on is called Heck. And I think the whole idea there is that this is basically like a kid's version of hell. So I think that's basically what it is. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Sorry to hear that. All right. Well, we're going to go to bed.
Tune in tomorrow, which it'll be in the same video, but we're going to talk about Ghost Island, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Hopefully it's better than Curse of the Shadows.
All right. See you in 10 seconds. Bye.
All right. We're back.
2 months later. This is 2 months later. We haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah. So yeah, it was supposed to be a Halloween movie night in October, but then it got pushed back to early November because that was as soon as we were available. Now it's the end of December, but movie night still technically. I guess it's just movie night part 2.
It's all going to be in the same video, but half of the video was recorded 2 months after the other half.
But yeah, that won't make a difference for anybody.
It'll make a difference for you.
Anyways, we just started watching Ghost Island, season 3 of Are You Afraid of the Dark? This was like
the reboots.
Yeah, the reboot of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yeah, I guess that.
Which, if we're going from a percentage-wise, the first one was great, the second one was terrible. This one is not terrible yet, but it might be, who knows.
Yeah, so this one's already a lot better than the second one, and then it's only 4 episodes instead of 8.
6.
Or 6. Oh, right, it was 6.
It took like 6 hours to watch it, though. It was pain.
Yeah, it was way longer. Yeah, the first season was great. It was 3 episodes?
3 episodes.
Yeah, it was just 3 episodes. It was a nice, tight story, well-paced, good story.
Not a tight 90 though.
Yeah,
different thing.
Yeah, but then season 2 was just absolutely terrible, way too long, had multiple false endings,
and then the ending was stupid.
Yeah, and then the real ending.
I don't know if we've talked about it here before, but the short version is that they go on all this symbolic crap about how they gotta fix the mistakes or whatever, and let me just put it the way it's phrased, and I don't remember how. The obvious solution is, they have to turn the lighthouse back on, which was decommissioned, and that'll destroy the ghost.
They had to undo what was done.
But the actual solution is they have to go back in time and stop them from being killed in the first place. Yeah. And that's what they do, and then everything's happy. And it's just like, what?
It was terrible.
It was bad.
So anyways, yeah, we're 1 episode through now of season 4. 3.
What?
Season 3.
Technically.
Yeah.
Okay, if you go to Wikipedia, this is technically like season 10.
Oh,
because they count it as the old show, too.
Oh, they count as part of the old show. Either way, okay. Well, either way, we just finished 1 of 4 episodes. And,
The Tale of Room 13.
Yeah, so this season's Ghost Island. Island. It's good so far, I think.
I'm not ready to call it good yet, but it's better than what came before it.
It falls into some of the same it falls into some of the same problems where it's like still very exposition-y dialogue without being subtle about it. The characters are all pretty much just tropes for the most part. They don't have a lot of depth to them yet.
So far, only one character doesn't annoy me, and it's protagonist girl whose name is Kayla, I think.
She's just really bland. Everyone else is basically a TikToker, and they're all annoying. So I don't hate them as much as I hated the other characters, but I don't like them either.
Yeah, so it's like there's not like the last season. All the characters, there were like reasons to outright hate them because they were all just really obnoxious.
Yeah, they were just jerks.
They were just really obnoxious. All their like they had like each one was very much just like one character trait. That's their entire personality.
Yeah. And one of those
very
characters
annoying
was an
about it.
activist, and the first line of dialogue is telling you about how much she's an activist, and it's just like, oh, good.
Yeah, it was her whole yeah.
She's an activist. The friend is a nerd and smart or whatever, and he reads comic books. That didn't make sense either.
Yeah,
He sacrifices himself.
We don't need to go into that.
We've never actually talked about Curse of Shadows
Well, you
officially.
keep saying we need to rewatch it at some point so we can do a full.
I know,
review
but I
of it,
don't want to rewatch
I really
it.
don't want to, so let's just not.
We'll have to one day.
Anyways, let's stay on season 3 though. So far,
Ghosts.
yeah, Ghost Island is the premise. It's like a tropical island getaway kind of place. There's a hotel on the island.
Yep.
So it's a haunted hotel story, but those are fun usually. First one was Tale of Room 13 because that's, you know,
Because that's the spooky one.
that's just what you do when you have a hotel story. You talk about the haunted Room 13.
There's a room that apparently like a million people have vanished in, and the hotel didn't ever close it down. And then they just leave the key on the front desk and like, oh, we don't sell this room. And then the girl gets killed by the ghosts in the prologue. And then they, in the future, they're like, oh, where's room 13? Oh, it's not there. It's in the linen closet.
Yeah, I say it started with like a flashback to 83, which I guess was like the last people to ever stay in the room. Although they weren't actually supposed to stay in the room. They stole the key and went in there because I guess, you know, their rooms were full and there was a storm outside. And
the bellhop was way much of a jerk.
Yeah, the bellhop was kind of a jerk. And I guess some family from Israel was already using the barn out back. But, yeah, they... Yeah, and then they disappeared. It was like a mom, a baby, and a daughter. That I'm guessing one or all of those characters are going to come. Well, we already saw the mom was a ghost.
Yeah, she was just running around.
She was a ghost, but I'm guessing one.
She might be a time ghost. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm guessing either the daughter, the older daughter, or the baby are going to come back as a character later in the season.
Don't worry. I'm sure this will end with them having to fix the mistakes of the past by going back in time and burning the room down, and then all the people will be fine.
I hope we don't go there again. But. Yeah, so then I guess, the fast forward to modern day, we've got a group of TikToker friends going on vacation on Ghost Island, although it's not actually probably called Ghost Island.
They call it Ghost Island.
They call it Ghost Island.
The tourists or whatever.
Tourists call it Ghost Island, but I'm guessing it's actually called something lame, like...
Wakaliki Paka. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Some weird summer camp.
Have they even actually said where this island is?
No, it's just an island. It's
just
tropical.
just
they go there. Island. I don't know how they afforded it or why their cousin wanted to give them here.
Yeah, they haven't really explained anything.
They're just here now.
It's like one of the characters' cousins is like brought them here, and I'm guessing that's going to be some part of the plot later.
I don't know. It's probably some kind of cult sacrifice or something.
Yeah. But so far, like main character Kayla is pretty bland, but not unlikable. She's got like a sister that died that they haven't actually said how she died yet, but that's her tragic backstory. And then all the other characters
her
are just
ghost will show up later, I'm sure.
And then all the other characters are pretty generic as well. Kind of the same thing.
Yeah, we have black girl who's a good friend. We have guy who everyone hates and is the punching bag.
For no
we
reason,
have
really.
over the top gay guy, and then we have couple who's not really in the show very much.
Well, they're not even. I don't think the couple are actually characters. I think the couple was like it was. I think it's her. So the main character's friend has a cousin, and the cousin is dating a guy, and that's the couple. So they're not really characters. They're kind of just side characters.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the cousin is the one that brought them here, and like I said, I'm sure that's going to become some part of some sinister plot later why they were brought here, but they haven't said anything about that yet.
The ghost steals you through the mirrors, and because there's water in the mirrors, that means the ghost is probably someone who drowned.
I'm guessing, yeah.
In the company pool.
So that's what I'd say though, is that the visual effects for this season have been pretty cool so far. Like the effect of like the thing coming out of the mirror looks pretty good.
Except the very last shot of the episode where it was clearly just an overlay that they put on the mirror.
Oh, yeah,
for that one split second, it's like, oh, that looks bad all of a sudden.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Yeah, it's very clear they just put like a sheet over a mirror.
Which is weird because up until that point it was fine, but that last split second effect was like, oh, that was worse.
Yeah.
It doesn't ruin it. It's just I just noticed it.
I don't know, but it looks fittingly creepy. They did a pretty good job of handling the scary scene at the end, I think.
Oh yeah, the bellhop. He's fine. He's every service industry worker. If you've worked in the service industry, you relate to him.
Oh, he's not. I guess he's not actually a bellhop. He's
manager.
He's
whatever.
the maitre d'.
Hotel manager guy.
I think the maitre d' would be the term.
No, that's restaurants.
No, that's
Maitre d' is the host guy at a restaurant.
I think it's also the term they use at hotels, though.
I am not sure.
They're both called a host, actually. I don't know. Either way.
Host man.
Either way, the host guy that works the desk. We're taking bets on if he's a ghost or not.
Well, no, he can't be a ghost now. Well, maybe it'll be the last second twist, because I thought it was going to be that... Because Max... Oh, yeah, let's just get this away. Max is some other character that Kayla likes. It turns out he's a ghost. I thought it was going to be a whole thing where we think he's real, and the other guy gets framed as being a ghost, and then they reveal it, like, right at the end that he was the ghost the whole time, like with Ghost Beach. But instead, they just reveal it like 8 minutes before they reveal it, and then it's like, oh, he's a ghost, and we're only in episode 1, so that didn't go the way I thought it would.
Yeah, no, that's not the way I didn't. It went about how I didn't predict it was going to go that way at all. I thought that, or the way you predicted, I didn't predict that. I thought, I think the desk guy, the reason, like, they made a whole thing about, like, one of the characters questioned, like, are you a ghost? And he, like, was screwing with him and said, yes, I am a ghost. Of course I'm a ghost. He was being very sarcastic, but I just kind of have a feeling that he's going to actually end up being a ghost.
It'll probably be the last second twist.
I don't know about that.
Like, he waves goodbye, and then they leave, and then he's like, and then he vanishes or something.
No, I don't know. I'm kind of more expecting it to be kind of a mid-season reveal that he's actually a ghost.
Mid-season? We've got 4 episodes.
Yeah, as in, like, end of episode 2 or start of episode 3, they will reveal that he actually is a ghost.
Well, okay, there we go. We've placed our bets. You think episode 2, I'm thinking it's the end, or he's just not a ghost.
I said near end of episode 2 or near the beginning of episode 3.
All right, let's see if it pans out.
Yeah, but then, then the other guy, Max, they introduced him. He supposedly works at the hotel, and then he told them some ghost story around the fire.
He used to.
But yeah, that part was kind of annoying though, where they all sit around a bonfire, and then
tell
they reveal that, like, the group basically reveals that they are the current version of the Midnight Society, but that they haven't done the Midnight Society since her sister died. But then for some reason, this new guy, Max, just knows all the routines because he's about to say, I submit for the approval, but then they cut him off and say, no, don't submit, just tell the story. We're not doing that. And then he's like, oh man, I sure wish I had some powder to throw into the fire. And then he's like, oh, hey, here's a bag of cocoa powder. And then he throws that into the fire and it does the flare up thing.
Yeah.
It was a little too on the nose. It kind of killed the tone to me, but I see what they were going for.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say two weird editing things because of the way it was. They call him over to the group, and they're like, "You want some s'mores?" And then he sits down, and the sun is in the middle of the sky, and then we just smash cut to it's pitch dark outside, and they're only just now asking, "So where are you from?" And it's like, were they just sitting there in silence for 5 hours? And then the commercial break, they're like, "Tell us the story," and then he comes back, he's like, "So you want me to tell you the story?" And it's like, wait.
So it's like, yeah, I know that was supposed to be like the brief recap for the audience after the commercial break to remind us where we are. But yeah, if you just take that at face value, that's very awkward dialogue. But yeah, that being said, I think I feel like that was probably a difference between how it was scripted and how it actually played out. I feel like the way it was scripted, they were supposed to be on the beach near the end of the day, and then, it would have been believable that it got dark shortly after. Or we're supposed to take it as they've been sitting here talking for a few hours now, but at the point that they were in the conversation, they should have been like that. That was a very early conversation dialogue, so it's like somewhere something got lost in translation somewhere along the way. I think.
Anyways,
it didn't ruin anything. It was just very weird. So
far, it's unremarkable, but it's not worse than Curse of the Shadows. So. Good enough for me.
Yeah, I did predict the Max twist thing though, but I guess that's why I kind of appreciated that it wasn't.
It would take longer.
That's why I appreciated that they didn't, because I feel like what they actually did was they foreshadowed it pretty well and then revealed it shortly after without dangling it in front of your face like some other writers might have chosen to do.
Oh right, in Curse of the Shadows, where they have the Shadow Man and then spend 3 episodes like, who's the Shadow Man? And it's like, it's the dad, right? It's the dad. And we figured it out way before.
Yeah, and then they keep dangling in front of us. Yeah, this show, they went against that, luckily. They just, he told them the story, and then, the character asks him, well, how'd you know what actually happened in the room? And he was just like, it's just
how the legend goes.
It's just how the legend goes, yeah.
But then it turns out he's a ghost.
Yeah, and then they reveal shortly after, when they go and visit the room, he starts having flashbacks, and they reveal, oh, wait, he was the guy in the room. And I was like, I called it. And then it turns out that guy didn't even actually know he was the one in the room until he reached into his pocket and found the movie ticket from the 90s.
Yeah, from 1996.
He was going to go see Scream with his
Drew Barrymore. That's very lore important.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, anyways, let's watch episode 2 now.
Yeah, let's watch episode 2. So far I like it, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Welcome to part 2 welcome to episode 2. I'm ambivalent, honestly.
So we just watched Ghost Island Part 2, The Tale of the Teen Spirit, which surprisingly did not have a musical cameo from Nirvana.
Nope.
But yeah, I'm actually enjoying it. I'm surprised. I'm starting to like it. I like that this episode they gave the characters time just to kind of be the characters and interact, which made their friendship a lot more believable for me. The characters aren't necessarily deep by any means, but they at least now have some actual like depth to them a little bit. They're more than just one trope. I feel like maybe.
I don't.
I don't know.
This aired in August. That is not the spooky month.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It just okay. It's better than Curse of the Shadows, but like most things are. But like, I'm not really. It's just not. It's just very meh for me. I'm very ambivalent towards this. At least the ghost looks neat.
Yeah.
Now that we can see the ghost.
Yeah. I mean, so I think it had some creepy shots, like with the ghost coming out of the mirror at the end. There was pretty creepy looking.
Yeah. Max, the ghost kid, smashed the mirror, and now he's screwed everyone. So
most likely. I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying it more than I thought I would. Yeah, I think season 1 is still definitely the best season.
Yeah, if you ever watch Are You Afraid of the Dark, feel free to watch the old show if you can find it, and then just watch that as a Carnival of Doom. Just treat it like a movie, and then pretend the rest doesn't exist. You're good.
Well,
You're better.
Well, who knows? Well, let's finish this one before we give a recommendation or not on whether to watch it.
Just don't watch Curse of the Shadows.
Yeah, don't watch Curse of the Shadows. I can definitely say avoid that one like the plague.
Yes.
It's very bad.
It's very bad.
Very bad.
This one, better. Okay, I don't like I think the pacing is too slow. Nothing happens for long periods of time, and I don't really care about any of the characters. I don't hate them, but I don't really like them either. They're just kind of here.
Oh, yeah, I guess I'm having a different experience. I'm starting to actually like the characters a little more. And I think the slower pace is actually kind of okay. I think at least, they're still kind of developing the plot. It's still very predictable, but yeah, it doesn't feel like it's like doing nothing. I mean, I guess we'll see. The way they're showing it, the plot should start ramping up now.
Yeah.
Because we got one more episode and before the finale. Yeah, one more episode and then the finale. So really, it should be ramping up pretty hard. So if it stays slow,
people are going to start dying left and right now.
You mean turning into ghosts?
Oh yeah, that was the thing. They keep every time they talk about it, they're like, people have been turned into ghosts, and he's going to turn you into a ghost. It's like, do you mean kill?
Yeah,
because that's what that means.
Well, that's what they found like a tape from a ghost hunter that came to the place.
Who turns out to be the friend of the ghost man.
Yeah, he was the ghost kid's friend. But yeah, that was what was funny is he was talking about how there's some force in the hotel that's turning people into ghosts, and so I was thinking like, okay,
which is weird because he says it's credited with 9 deaths, but then he always says they're turned into ghosts.
Yeah, which I thought maybe was implying somehow that they weren't actually killed; they were just turned into ghosts, and then like maybe there's a way they can be brought back later in the series. But then when they found the guy's actual footage, like. He just straight up got his neck snapped. So I think he was
by the ghost. Luckily, his camera follows the angle of his neck snap.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. The camera they found was like a handheld camera.
Yeah, big camcorder.
Big old handheld camcorder. But the footage was like POV footage of him entering the room, and then you just see like the camera view shift to the left suddenly and hear a snap. So I guess he got his neck snapped, but was kind enough to follow the motion of it with the camera, so we knew what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess he's one of the ghosts now.
Yeah, and there's also a housekeeper ghost. It sucks for her. So, she doesn't have any lines except housekeeping.
Yeah. So I guess final assessment on episode 2. I feel like you're kind of losing steam on this one. I'm enjoying it, but it's definitely think it could still go either way, depending on how the last half of the season goes.
Well, I don't know. Like the other one, I was engaged the whole way through. Curse of the Shadows, I hated.
We were both pretty checked out by the end of the first episode.
I wasn't checked out. I was actively hating it. This one, I'm just kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
It's not grabbing me.
Well, at least there's only 2 more episodes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, it can't be worse than Curse of the Shadows.
It cannot be.
Because it's short.
Just, purely for the sake of being shorter. Because even if it is bad, at least it's not 6 episodes of bad.
Yeah.
But, no, this one's definitely got us going a lot stronger than Curse of the Shadows was.
That is true.
But that's not saying much.
All right, well, I guess we'll watch The Tale of the Looking Glass now.
All right. All right, finished episode 3.
Yeah,
and we just had a long debate about whether the guy that appeared in the flashback was the same actor as the boyfriend from the first episode.
I thought it was. They looked very similar.
They were literally both Asian, and that was the...
Well, the other guy was only in one scene, and he's the only other Asian guy in the whole show.
Except for, like, the main character guy that's
No,
Asian.
she's obvious.
Well, not her. I mean, it wasn't one of the other... Oh, wait, never mind.
No, there's no other Asian men in this show.
I don't know. But either way... So we just started to debate that. But yeah, anyways, I called the twist. Turns out Hotel Man was a ghost, but also it turns out he was the ghost, and I called both of those
I
twists.
don't think he's a ghost. I think he's just immortal. You know, they're playing fast and loose with ghosts, but they don't behave like ghosts at all.
I think he's a ghost by the definition of what they're saying a ghost is in this season.
They're more like revenants than ghosts. It's kind of confusing.
Well, to me, revenant means ghost. So
revenants, whatever.
Pretty sure they're all just under the category of ghost. But yeah, basically...
They don't have any ghost powers. They can't move through walls. They can be stopped by doors, but they also have supernatural powers.
So what they seem to be implying, though, is that this ghost is bound to the mirror because she was trapped in a mirror in the flashback. And so what it seems to be saying is you have to avoid reflections. So what it seems like, we've seen her out and walking around, so I think it's that she has to either be in a mirror or within view of a mirror to exist.
Oh, you know, it makes sense now. Because like I was saying, that time period, it would have been statistically unlikely for an Asian man to be a captain of a ship, but he wasn't Asian. He was a
white
different guy.
He was a white dude.
Which totally tracks for 1692 in that region.
Yeah, I guess.
Foreshadowing. The fact that he was Asian was a hint that the story was fake.
So yeah, they pulled that trick twice now, though, where they use a different actor for the flashback to disguise the character's identity.
I still say that's a cheat.
Well, once again, it was them reading a story out of a book, so I don't think it's really a cheat.
Also, they aren't using twins. It is the same
Yeah, I saw that.
person.
But yeah, no, I think that they... Yeah, no, I don't think it's really a cheat. I think it's a cheat if the movie just outright shows an event with a different actor to, like, hide it. But if it's someone telling a story and they use a different character because it's, you know, a lie, like, I think that's fair. Either way, yeah. So, what are your thoughts so far? Any different? Any different, about the same, worse?
I don't know. You know, it keeps... the ghost rules are not making any sense. They're really inconsistent. It keeps taking me out of it.
Yeah, I will say they are very... Yeah, they are playing pretty fast and loose with the ghost stuff, and kind of inconsistent with the rules around how the mirrors and reflections work, because there definitely been times where they were around reflective surfaces and the mirror and the ghost didn't come out, but then later it's like, that's a reflective surface, we gotta run, the ghost is coming out of it.
Yeah, again, the fact that the ghost can actually be stopped by a door really makes the ghost doesn't seem not as threatening.
Well, it's what they were going for made sense. They locked themselves in a dark freezer, or a dark, like, you know, commercial kitchen fridge,
which has tons of reflective things in it.
But the lights were off, though, so I don't think it was making any reflections, because then the way the ghost got into the room was she leaked water through the door so that it pooled on the floor, and then turned the lights on so that it would create a reflection. And I thought that was actually pretty cool, but yeah, I think what they were going for was cool, but I don't know if they represented it super well, because, yeah, from what we could see, it's like, well, you're in a metal fridge, there's reflective surfaces, there's, like, containers that have reflections.
And then Kayla is like, we could stop the ghost, where she moves the salt shaker back and forth, like, 3 times, and is like, and that's how we'll stop the ghost. With summoning spell, because, I don't... okay, we have no reason to believe any of this, but she just comes up with it, and then it's like, yep, clearly that is obviously how this works.
I think it makes sense. What? Because what they revealed in the flashback was that she basically fell in love with a sailor guy.
Sailor Man.
Yeah, Captain Man.
He was actually white and not Asian.
Yes, that's crucial. She fell in love with a guy, he went out to sea and died. She summoned him to a mirror with a spell she got from, like,
some voodoo lady who just lives in the village, I guess.
Yeah, one of those. So she got some spell book. She used the spell book. And the spell book, by the way, pretty bad prop design.
I don't know. It looks like the Book of Pure Evil.
I don't know. The pages just literally look like stuff that someone would would doodle in a high school, like, notebook. You know, like a high schooler would doodle during class. There was literally a page that was just ha 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 written over again with, like, a smiling mouth. And it's like, well, that's a little...
Yeah, it's the Joker.
Yeah. But anyways...
Alan rough draft of the Killing Joke.
Yeah. But
then it turns out the guy is a total dick, and he just switches places and chaps her in a mirror, and then if she looks at anyone, then they die. Sorry, they get turned into a ghost.
Yeah.
They're very insistent on that terminology, by the way. They keep saying it.
I don't get it. But yeah, so basically yeah, she summoned him to a mirror to see him again, and then she wanted to figure out how to be with him again, and then he just like did some trick and swapped places with her. So now he's out in the real world, but
He was Stanley Crane all along.
yeah. So he's out in the real world, and she's trapped in the mirror world, slowly going insane, turning into a monster. And then anytime she looks at somebody on the other side of the world, somehow she was like trapping people in the mirror by mistake.
Well, she snapped the one guy's neck, so I mean...
Yeah, I guess she just went crazy and actually turned evil at some point. But then at the end of this last episode, she just walked right past them, like...
Yeah, because they're the gay guys, they're in love or something. She probably doesn't want to kill true love because she was in love once or whatever.
Maybe, you might be onto something there.
Come on, what else could it be?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to just have to see what happens in the last episode. But overall, I'm actually still enjoying it quite a bit. I don't know. I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's like not... I don't know. First season's still better, but this one's not much worse. I think it's pretty good. I don't know. I think it's, for what it is, it's good. I don't know. I think it's fine. I'm entertained by it, at least. I don't think there's nothing that's so aggressively like stupid that I'm mad about. And we're on the last episode, so we're about to get the resolution for everything.
Yeah, we're gonna find out the ghosts.
Yeah.
Also, in the last episode, he just grabs her and shoves her into the mirror because I guess he can just do that now. It's not clear.
Yeah. So now the main character's trapped in the mirror. So let's see how she gets out.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Her sister will get her out of the mirror.
Yeah. She's gonna go find her sister on the other side, probably.
Yeah, or something rather.
Yep.
Her sister died of unspecified soap opera disease.
She died of needing to be out of the movie.
Yep.
All right. Anyways,
let's watch the last episode.
Yep. All right. We finished it.
It's over.
We did it.
Yay.
Yeah.
2 months.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't as bad as Curse of Shadows. I wasn't in love with it, but...
Yeah, it really did kind of just drag on.
It took too long.
It took too long to end. Even being shorter, it really probably could have been cut down to 3 episodes. Overall, I think it was still, like, good overall. It wasn't, like, bad. It was just, I think it really dragged on at the end there. They just couldn't let it end. And it did just take some complete left turns in the plot. Time travel, or not even time travel. I guess this time it wasn't time travel. It was just, once they figured out how to, like, free the ghost, it retroactively made it so the ghost had never been trapped ever.
Yeah, we spoke too soon. They still somehow worked friggin' nonsense time travel in there.
Well, like I said, it wasn't time travel, because no one actually traveled through time. We
changed the past.
Yeah, they just changed the past.
Because that's how that works.
It was still less stupid than it was in the other one.
That is true. It was less stupid. I still thought it was out of nowhere.
Yeah,
it wasn't previously established at all.
It was still out of nowhere, not previously established to be something that was possible, but it felt more appropriate in this one somehow.
I don't know. They just wanted a happy ending.
Yeah,
they were just like,
true.
Oh, the ghosts, all the other ghosts, they're not dead now. Yay.
Look, now they never were ghosts. That family in 1983, they got special room 13 that they reserved just for homeless families that need a place to stay that night.
Or something, I don't know.
Which, how did they end up on that island anyways with nowhere to stay?
You know, that wasn't explained.
It's like a tropical resort
island.
It's a tropical
island that you can't just go there. And there's nowhere on the island. It's a resort and a beach and that's it.
Yeah, somehow this family just stumbled in with nowhere to stay. It's like, how?
I don't know.
I'm mad about that now. I didn't even think about that before, but now I'm mad about it.
Like, how did that even happen?
It's this family stumbling in out of the rain. Like, their car broke down a mile up the road and they just trudged
a mile up in the water.
But it's like if you go a mile up the road, you're in the ocean because it's a tiny island resort.
Yeah.
How do you just end up... Never mind. So yeah, overall, like definitely played very fast and loose with whatever the rules were. They didn't. That was definitely.
I couldn't get into it. The ghost rules didn't make any sense.
I had an easier time of just letting that go. I accepted, so I still enjoyed it. I just accepted pretty early. Like they're obviously not trying to make some hard set of rules that they're going to follow, and they're obviously playing pretty fast and loose with what the definition of a ghost even is. And honestly, at one point they stopped even calling them ghosts.
It may as well not even be a ghost. They seem to be exactly the same as if they were alive.
No, well, so from what I can gather, though, basically what happened was Lucia got trapped in the mirror because her boyfriend pulled the bait and switch.
Yeah.
And then
and then I guess he was immortal or something.
And then she got trapped in the mirror and then started to go insane and pull other people into the mirror too. But then, then they broke the mirror. which like released her spirit partially, so that it was like she was still like bound to mirrors, but she could be loose in that building and was trying to catch them. And then, but then they fully like at the end they managed to get the other guy back into the mirror, swapped with Lucia, so she was loose again. But then that made it so retroactively she was never trapped in the mirror, and none of those people were ever captured and turned into ghosts.
Turned into ghosts.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess they did explain it. They didn't really die. They just got turned into ghosts.
No, the other people died.
Yeah.
Then they act like Lucia died, and it's like she didn't though. She just got pulled into the spirit world, and then when she comes back to life, she goes away, and it's like she was never dead.
No, she didn't die. That was her going back to 816 whatever.
Was that what that was?
I'm assuming that's kind of how that was supposed to be interpreted after the fact. Because yeah, it's like she came back, she was alive, and then she just disappeared, and it's like, well, then they went and room 13 was gone, and yeah, so I mean, I guess it made sense for what they were saying, but yeah, it was very much out of nowhere. So I don't know. That's definitely the biggest criticism I think of the show is that they just, for like a horror thing to really be good, you kind of need consistent rules so that you can have consistent stakes and know what's happening. This show didn't really do a great job of that, but overall, I think the characters were pretty good. A lot better than the last one.
I really thought that last episode was going to end with her being like the tale of the Phantom Carnival. I really thought we were going to do that. Or like the tale of the Phantom Cab or something. I thought we were going to loop everything back somehow.
Yeah, at the end they all did a bonfire and did a Midnight Society storytelling, and she said, the tale of the girl in the mirror. It's like, well, we just lived that, so that's not going to be very fun to hear about again.
Yeah, I know. It's like we just did
that.
Story.
That's the best you can come up with, even with your dead sister's help, which was also kind of weird.
The tale of the Phantom. Yeah, so she crossed. This is annoying me. They're like, if you cross over, you're just gone, and the only people who are here are the people who are stuck. I crossed over, except no, I didn't. I've been here the whole time listening to your stories. So apparently I didn't cross over. And now I'm still here.
Well, I guess she, crossed over, but... So there was the other side, which was, the other side of the mirror, and then there's, actually crossing over to the afterlife. And I guess her sister crossed over to the afterlife, but when you're in the afterlife, you can still see what happens in the real world. You just you just can't interact with it. So that's what... Because then when she was in the other side, her sister was able to, come and meet her on the other side and tell her all that. That was my interpretation, and once again, they didn't really explain it that well. This movie, the show was definitely going more for character moments and emotion than it was going for actual logical plot, which,
they're not mutually exclusive.
They're not, but this one chose one more than the other. And I don't know, that's what I say, it was fine. The characters were good, the show dragged on, it had some inconsistent rules. It's like a 6.5 out of 7, I don't know, 6.5 out of 10 for me, probably. Not quite a 7, but not, I don't know. I guess rating them, season 1 would be 9 out of 10. Season 2 is a negative 15 out of 10. And
season 2 doesn't even get a point.
Season 3 is 6.5 out of 10. I don't know.
I'll get, okay. That's the problem with the 10-point scale is that...
Just give it a number.
My number is, I think it was average.
Okay. 5 out of 10?
Well, look, I don't know. It's hard to say when the 10-point scale is skewed.
Not really.
Because it always functionally it's a 4-point scale.
Not really, no.
Well, because no one ever goes below 6. They only ever use 6, 7, 8, and 9, and never 10. And then never 5 really either. That's how it seems to work.
No, I've seen. I guess I don't know what you're referring to. I've seen the whole scale. I've used the entire scale for things.
I don't know. Wasn't crazy about it.
Yeah, whatever. I liked it. I don't know. It was fine. It was good.
All right, so the question is this the end of this episode?
I think so.
Probably?
Probably.
All right, well, we had some other movies that we were going to get to, but we didn't get to them.
We're going to table those for next year.
Yeah. We had Absentia, Inhumanwich, and Clown.
Yep,
I just like saying it like that.
Clown.
Clown by Eli Roth.
Huh.
He plays a clown at one point.
Huh.
But now those movies are gone. This should put us at an hour and a half total.
I have no idea.
I think it's probably good.
It's going to take a while.
Yeah, we had movies, and then we took a break for 2 months because things, and then now here we are at the very end of December to close out the year.
Concluding our Halloween movie nights.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the channel itself hasn't had any uploads in 2 months.
Yeah, I've been absent from my channel too. So, all
Oh
right.
yeah, go watch his channel. There's 3 videos, and one of them doesn't have as many views.
Yeah, because it's not about flesh and blood.
No,
Anyways.
don't worry. That'll be your sleeper hit later.
Yeah, I need to make more videos. I should.
All right.
Anyways,
Happy Halloween and a Happy New Year.
and Merry Christmas.
Sure.